Hi, guys, welcome to another episode of It Was Never Personal with me, Yemi Walfred. In this week's episode, we'll be talking about what I refer to as not success. What is not success for me? I'll have another episode of what I think it is success for me. Everybody, I think success is personal, I think it is for everybody, but again, at the same time, I think it has like that linear, universal concept to it, or a way in which we just all agree that, but that one, I feel like that way I'll be successful. So this talk was really actually just introduced when I was talking to my other friend, because recently I've been getting to sneak peek into the world of socials, and the news. The thing about me, if you listened to the previous season, yes, we are in season two. I mean, how dare you not know that we are in season two, honey? We have season one. So the thing about me is that I never really listen to the news. I don't watch the news because of all this thing that they do of really wanting to push us into fear. So now, because of that, I always try and get to just get a sneak peek of what is really actually happening. Is Russia and Ukraine done? Or we're actually just still headed towards the World War Three. Anyways, so now me going through that, I mean, I landed upon something because I was really doing some research about this other guy who led me to this other guy who I'll talk about. Don't worry, I'm just doing an overview. Thank you. So this other guy led me to this other guy who was like very, and both of these guys, I guess that's also. I mean, you look at this man and you will say they're successful, Yeah, I mean, for sure they're successful. In terms of what though? That was the question that was actually coming up to my head because, when I look at them with the knowledge that I know now, it's like I feel kind of like sad for them because I can see beneath the superficial confidence or whatever they put through, but I understand why people are buying into it and whatever, you know. So my friend asked me about, no, no, actually, I'm the one who asked my friend about Tate. I don't know if you guys know Andrew Tate. I mean, how dare I ask you that question? You know him, of course. Other people know him to be this outrageous, whatever. We all know whatever that he says and does and whatever. But the thing over here that I want to talk about, I'm not actually here to talk about Tate. I'm sorry. I'm just using him as an example because he was among the list of men who terrified me. I went, oh my God. So I guess a lot of people will say, Tate is very successful and whatever, and I get it in the terms of like societal statuses, but on this podcast, I try and really let people know that what they lied to you, and actually that they lied to you because that's not it. I remember when I was talking to my friend about Andrew Tate, asking him, what did I say? Actually, I was asking if my other friend, who's a mutual friend of ours, is still a follower. And then he was like, oh, yes. Oh, so I was like, okay, so he hasn't learned the lesson, because the thing about me is that I'll always let my friends do whatever they want to do, and then eventually life will slap them, life will push them over the cliff, just like how the birds, some birds do, and some bird species do to their kids, they just push them off the cliff so that they learn to fly. So I also believe that life does that to us, actually we co-create and do it. So I thought that my other friend had already seen that actually that was not successful, but he's still in it, and I guess okay, but I'll get to why I think he's still stuck with that. Now my friend was asking me, well, if this guy is very successful, he has all the money, he's all bragging about having so many cars, and he can sleep with all of these women, any woman he want to sleep with, which is, I mean, he talks about a lot of things. He talks about a lot of things. I don't follow him. I just heard some stuff and I went, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was like horrified. So the thing is that my friend was asking me, if Tate is actually as successful as he says, why is he still earning or yearning for more? Why does he want more and more and more? And the first answer that I gave him, which is the first answer that I'll give to you right here, is that, it has much more to do with whatever that she's saying. I mean, it's not about the cars, it's not about the money, it's not about the girls, it's not about the following or whatever. Those things are kind of like on the surface, that are superficial. Putting x-ray eyes on the situation, we will all learn that actually something is going on. I don't know, but mostly, it's universal for us to have that kind of feeling of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worth it, I'm not lovable, something that I had, I'm unlovable, I'm not worthy of love, however you want to coin it. But in some way, we all have a deep seated belief or feeling of, I am not good enough. And other people feel like they're not heard, they're not seen, and they just want to find a way to be heard, to be validated for their worth, because they feel unworthy, validated for their sense of being, because they want to be seen and heard. So a lot of these people who are successful, a lot of millionaires, billionaires, they are just kind of they are they come as a result of that, where now they try and get successful, but from a point of view of the ego, which is very, very deeply rooted in beliefs of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worth it, people don't like me, a fearful state of being. The ego is just that, and if you build your sense of self, a sense of self meaning, you just think that is who you are, you really derive your sense of self from how people interact with you, what people say about you, and stuff like that. It makes sense that you run for money, because you get money, people like you, even though the like, or the taps, or the hearts they throw, or the sharings, or whatever they do, it's superficial. It's not real, it's not genuine, because the money goes away, the likings go away, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a very, I don't know, for me it's not freeing, it's very heavy, it's overwhelming. It is overwhelming. So now, to answer that question of my friend, who was like, so why does he feel um the need to keep on wanting more and more and more? It's because, you can never deal with that feeling, that void. You can never fill that void with something which is outside. But we always want to use the external things to actually fill that thing which is from with that void which is within. And that void, I mean the feeling of, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, people don't see me, I'm not validated for anything, I'm not heard, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, I believe that it just goes with the line, I am not enough, So that void, you have to fill it with your love, self love, which is something which I will always talk about, and this podcast always talk about outside. And before I go any further and lose track of what I'm saying that, so because of that deep seated belief of, I'm not enough, people try and use money, cars, people try and use social media to get the likes and everything, the following. People try and use attention, I mean, social media is a form of getting the attention that you want, just to be able to kind of like temporarily, what it does is it's a temporary solution to that void. It's kind of like you feel that void with the money, you feel that void with the cars, you feel that void with women, whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, we both know that it doesn't actually gives you any solution. It's not permanent, it's just for the time being. And then after some time, when you think, oh, I've actually done it, I'm rich, I'm whatever, I'm successful, you realize that you are not, because you still have that belief being there. So then you have to keep on going and doing what you know as a solution to to solving that problem, to meeting that thought that says I'm not enough. So you say, okay, more cars, because I still don't feel enough. I like this other. I love Kendrick Lamar when he was singing. I think it's mm, is it Mirror? I don't know. I forgot the song, but he was saying that I got a new car, but that car, blah, blah, blah. Like saying that he got a new car, but later on that kind it gets old, and then it doesn't serve him that kind of ecstasy, that excitement that he felt before. It's just that the law of impermanence, everything is impermanent. Nothing will ever last, so you can never try and feel that void, or try and feel the feeling that you feel within with something which is without, because the world of things, the objects are very impermanent. They do not last. So you cannot actually use them to fill up that void. You have to use yourself. You have to use your love, because you have that power within to actually just fill it. Because this is the truth. The truth is that we are all lovable. We are all enough. We are all loved. We are all worthy of love. We don't need to go an extra mile in proving or whatever, or seeking. I know I've done it. I sometimes still do it because I lose track of whatever the road that I go. But I always remind myself, honey, no, 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 no. You are worthy of love. Actually, I say, I am loved. I'm so lovable, and I'm loving, and I deserve to be loved, and I'm worthy of love. And I just say that to remind my little child of the sweetness that I still have, of who I really am. I am love, and therefore I am lovable. So that helps me to balance that thought that says, you're unlovable over it. You have to prove it. You have to work hard. You have to do this. You have to get it right. So that comes, so all these men that are, all these successful people, most of them, not all, oh my God, squash all, let's say, most successful people, they come from a point of view of the ego, which is based off of fear, the fear of being unlovable, the fear of not being enough or not being seen, and therefore they try and use the material. They become materialistic, which I don't see any problem in it. It's just only the intention that I see kind of like cricket. So they have to fix the intention. It's kind of like, honey, now do it not to fill the void. Fill the void first with self-love, and then you'll get everything that you want to get, actually. But anyways, so that was one part of actually answering the answer of why does he keep on wanting more, more, more. Why isn't he satisfied? Well, he's not satisfied because he's using external things to feel something which is within, when he actually has to use that power which he has within to fill that void, and that power is self-love. Now, the second thing is this: we have confused a lot of things with a lot of things again. What I mean by this is that, for example, in this context, I'll focus on how we have confused wealth with money. We have equated success with money. It's like if you have more money, you're successful. Oh, you make $20 million a day. You you are actually successful, but it's not true, honey. It's not true. That's not it, money and success and wealth, they don't equate, they are not the same thing, but we have taken it to be that way. It's kind of like a non-verbal contract we have signed as a species, as the human species, and I find it very crazy because like the things that people do, oh my god, I was watching, what is it, White Lotus season 3. Oh my god, isn't it serving? It is, and I love it. I love it, because it gives me the side. It gives me it enables me to penetrate into the psyche of people who will, the rich people, yeah, those people who will say they're successful, and then you get there and it's like, oh my god, what is this? I don't want this. I don't want this. Especially I was like, I don't want this, because they're very oblivious, they're unconscious, and that's like, it's not what I feel success is to me. You get what I mean? So, like I was saying, we have confused money with wealth. But I'll tell you this, I think Mahatma Gandhi is the one who actually came up with it first, but you know, nothing personal. So somebody said, well, health is wealth, and I think that one is actually closer to the truth. You know, we are wealthy. We are wealthy by just being, because first of all we are healthy. Try and wait for the time that you get really really sick. You will realize how wealthy and blessed and rich you have been all this time. I mean, I don't know, I didn't get it back then when I was told about it, but it's kind of like, wait for it, or just research and do your readings. You will understand what I mean when I say health is wealth. So how do you actually, what how do you actually get healthy? We know, stay active, stay loving that body, but most importantly, watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts. Watch those thoughts. I'm telling you, watch your thoughts, because one of the things is that, this idea that you are not enough, it's a thought that you just didn't actually watch it. When I say watch a thought, I mean stay present, stay the witness of a thought, go eyes on the thoughts. But you didn't do that. That's why you confused it. You confused yourself, the real you confused it with a thought, which is just not true. It's an illusion, you know what I mean? And then you go around trying to prove the thought right, going, oh, I'm actually, I'm much more than that. I'm lovable by cars, by whatever. But that's not it. Now, going to the second part of this talk, I want to talk about what I feel this has done to the little boys. I mean, we both know that men are not as vulnerable. I don't know, how do I coin it? I don't want to say something that I will contradict later. But let me say this: the men we have created as a human species is not as vulnerable as the women. For sure, the feminine is actually more open, and the masculine is often more closed. But that doesn't mean that men cannot be open. We both possess both the feminine and the masculine energies inside of us. So now, what I'm saying is that just by their just by the social concept of it, men are more of like, closed off. They don't talk about how they feel. They don't talk about one, two, three. They're not just open. It's much more of like, I want to get working on it. I want to work, earn hard. And the thing is that, honey, we have these little boys, especially in their teens. We have teen boys who are looking for a role model, who are looking for a father figure, who are looking for somebody who to take guidance from, because it's heavy. As much as the women or the little girls, the teen girls are having it hard. Even the teen boys are having it hard, let me tell you that. It's just that the girls are more open about it, they talk about it and go whatever, but the teen boys are like, well, I don't talk about it, I'm just, they hide it. But they are still actually going through it, just as the girl child is. So they need a father figure, they need that parent. We all need a parent figure, a parental figure, or somebody to guide us. Now, this is where it gets hurtful because boys then they low around, you know, they wander around trying to look for that person, that father figure, that guidance and counselor, if you may. And then they don't find any at home for sure. That's why they went um, looking for some around. Now kids, teens, they spend most time onto their socials. It makes sense that now they fall prey to men like Tate, who who offer this side of masculinity, which is very which is which talks, which is very I almost said open-minded. He's not open-minded, people. But this side of masculinity, or men who are able to talk, who just say whatever they want to say, who just act it out, who just say, he just talks. Rather than just being that normal man who is actually closed off and they don't say stuff. He's actually saying everything. He doesn't even have limits. Now boys, teen boys, even just young youthful boys, like in their early 20s, they fall prey to him. But now it's a sad thing because they're getting the wrong information. Let me tell you this: knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, and whoever is actually trying to withhold knowledge from you is rendering you powerless. Now, imagine you trying to go. It's like the boys are sick, they're trying to get medication. They go to the doctor prescribes them the wrong medication. Are they going to get healthy? Are they going to get cured? No. That's what I'm trying to say with this thing. So the boys then they fall onto men who are very toxic, who serve toxic masculinity, who serve aggressiveness, who are all about power, who want power, who wants money, who are just running after having sex with 65 women or whatever women, 50 women a day, and who can actually brag about how they can have any woman they want. I mean, it's not actually bad to brag about having to get any woman you want, but it's bad paint if you objectify a woman as a tool. You know what I mean? And you try and actually make yourself superior. And that's one thing that I forgot when I was talking about this thing. Actually, one of the reasons why people actually run, or why I don't think that these people are actually successful, is because they feel actually underneath, they feel inferior. So they use money, cars, and whatever to feel superior to another person. And it works because in this system, if you don't have money, who are you? You know what I mean? But if you have money, then hello, you want what? So, but I mean, it's very horrific. I don't know. So the it's just like, I don't know. I have my teen brothers. I'll talk to them. I talk to them. I just hope they don't fall prey onto that. But again, like I said, my friend who 2 years ago was still a follower of Tate is still a follower of Tate. And I just hope that he sees whatever that I'm talking about. I'm not going to impede my own my own set of beliefs or my own values and principles onto him. It's very important for me to not try and infiltrate and try and really get convoluted um into his way of life. At the end of the day, life will always teach you the lessons. He'll get the slap, and then he'll realize, whoa, I almost went down the drain. I'm just saying this because my friend who I was talking to, when he listens to, he does listen to Tate, but he has his eyes open. He goes with X-ray eye vision. He goes and he zooms and he goes tick 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 tick, and then he really like that. That's why I was very grateful when he was asking me questions about why doesn't he feel um um like he has made it. Why does he want more and more and more? And the things that he's saying and I mean, we cannot be just sitting here and saying that a man has to talk bad of women, a man has to talk bad of other people. I mean, to me, from a very young age, I knew it when like whenever I wanted somebody to follow, like especially successful people, because those are the people who you raised, who we would actually want to choose as our role models. I would actually go deeper. I do my research and then I go, is this person homophobic? Thank you. And if they're homophobic, I don't follow them, honey, because it's kind of like, I'm not stupid. I'm gay. I'm not stupid. I'm gay. I'm clever. I'm gay. I'm a homosexual. So I'm not going to follow someone who's actually against me being myself. You know what I mean? So having to find that somebody is actually against other people, it doesn't even just have to serve homosexuality. It has to serve in even just not allowing people to be who they are, especially when those people are doing nothing which is hateful to you. If anything, they're just portraying or serving purpose in diminishing your ego, or just trying, they just scare your ego. It's like your ego is very scared of them, and then that is like, honey, no, I won't follow you. You know what I mean? But like I said, um take care of your boys, your little brothers, and if there are any boys who are listening to this, please, guys, know that real success doesn't equate money. It has nothing to do with money. I know the question is, okay, so what does it have to do with? Well, I'll tell you later, and much more in episodes to come. I'll talk about what I think is actually success to me. Because I think fundamentally success to me has to do with freedom. It gives me freedom. Yes, for sure. Being abundant in terms of financial and whatever they come after. I'm free. They come after I'm healthy, wealthy. Did I just say wealthy before I even said other things? Anyways, we'll talk about it, build a picture of it. But all in this, I see all these men who are, I don't know why I'm saying men only, because there are other women who are successful who also do same horrific stuff. It's like, Piper, no. Oh my god, I just love that White Lotus season 3. You should watch it. Oh my god, am I advertising for Mike White? Anyways, so I'm just saying that all those people who are successful and are saying all those horrific things, guys, don't take them for. It's not. I'm not here to paint them black and say, oh, you should hit them. No, it's a cry for help. They want to be loved. They want to be seen. They want to be acknowledged. But don't confuse whatever they're doing with what actually is success. Yeah, I'm just trying to make the way there shorter for you so that you don't get to feel very, what's the word? You don't feel bitter at the end. Yeah, you don't feel bitter and cynical and angry because they lied to you. But honey, I'm here with the information. Get it so that you don't have to actually get slapped before you realize, oh my God, I did it out wrong. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, And comment, leave a comment, what you think. Do you think success is money based and whatever, and anything that you feel like I should have touched on? Bye.